Hello there. I might look different. That's because I'm from the future. 10 minutes into this video to be exact. I'm just on a quick visit because I've read your comments from the previous video. I try to read as many as I can, you know. Ferrum ignis. Check torque readings from the load cell by using a torque wrench on the crank with the crank locked. Great idea. Softia, check out this channel. It's awesome. Move the RPM trigger to the retarder. Back to the retarder. That was my original plan. Get more consistent readings. Great idea. So many comments about using a known engine to tune in a dyno. And I will do that, but now I'm just playing with this engine too. I'm mostly trying to get to know this engine now. So it's not too much about the dyno as of yet. We'll get there. Okay, I'll see you in about 10 minutes when I try to create a more controlled environment and approach this more scientifically. I'll try. I've got a list here. Back. It's time to crank up the ignition timing and maybe get some flamethrower action and some power from this engine. I want to thank Mickey Antonakakis, sorry for that pronunciation, for having a look at the raw data for the load cell and the RPM sensor and doing some cleanup and giving me some pointers to what can be causing problems here. Seems to be a lot of noise. Might help to move the wires away from the spark plug. Also, I think I was a bit under optimistic when I mounted the load cell this close. I've been calculating with 50 newtons of torque. That's probably enough at 20,000 RPM with the PIP engine, but there's probably much more at lower RPM, especially true for this brute force engine. So I'll need to move this further away, and that should also help clean up some of the vibration noise issues. There's probably going to be much more heat from the exhaust now, and maybe some flames. I need to fix a couple of small leaks here. These leaks have no effect on how the engine performs. They're kind of after the critical point. Might cause it to catch on fire though, so probably a good idea to fix them. First up, replacing the spark plug booth, which is a little bit sloppy. Can be some sparking in there, not good for performance or noise. Replace that with a tighter one. I've had this for many years and it's been used on a lot of bikes. It's about time for it to retire now. I'm using both a resistor plug and a resistor cap to cut down on noise. 5K in both, so 10K total. Both my RPM sensor wires are sitting pretty close to the spark plugs. We'll move those up here. Try to keep them away from the heat here though. This video is sponsored by NordVPN. NordVPN lets you surf the web safely without hackers, evil companies, your boss, the government, your wife spying on you. Easy to use, just one click to enable, or you can have it auto-connect. Use it on 6 devices, Android, Windows, Linux, iOS, etc. You can appear to be from whatever country you want. This means you'll have access to streaming services, games, movies, which you wouldn't have access to where you're at without NordVPN. You might also find some great deals out there. We have this new feature called Threat Protection. Helps you identify naughty files, stops you from landing on malicious websites, blocks trackers and intrusive ads on the spot, protects you even when you're not connected to the VPN. Wait, there's more. NordPass, which lets you store your passwords in one place for one-click access to your favorite website, and you don't have to remember your password. Taken care of safely. And NordLocker, safe encrypted cloud storage for your files. Always encrypted and always within reach. Head to NordVPN/2stroke-stuffing to check out their exclusive deal and use the code 2stroke-stuffing. It's risk-free thanks to their 30-day money-back guarantee. Thank you, NordVPN. There's been a little leak here. And there's this spring-loaded ring that seals the piston. I think there's been some interference between the gasket and this seal ring. So I'll just use some goop to seal it now. See how that works. There's a slight leak between the cylinder and the rotary valve. I've just used sealant there. I'll see if there's room for an O-ring or a gasket. As you can see, there's not much room for an O-ring here. I think a gasket is my best bet. Let's hope it survives the exhaust gases. The leaks should be taken care of. There might be more. Load cell relocated. In my 5 kilogram load from this bolt, which is 14 centimeters from the center of rotation. Save calibration. Got my computer hooked up to the Ignitec ignition unit. Up until now we've been running 15 degrees of advance, flat line. And now I'm gonna change that to start at 15 and then just quickly ramp up to 20 and 20 flat line after that. So basically a 20-degree flat line. And we'll see how it behaves. I'm curious to see if this has an effect on the bogging we've been experiencing. Tomorrow morning. We're ready. It might take a little while to start it now because I've purged it so it's sitting full of gas and oil, not methanol and nitro. The dump valve quickly developed a leak again. And my EGT sensor is dead. Got another probe though, so I'll switch it out and see if that helps. That's the new one compared to the old one. Probably the oil causing this. I can see from the imprint in this one that it's been like barely sealing this round part. Maybe it's better if it's overhanging the edges here, just to be sure. I'll try that. Like that, so now it's overhanging both on the inside and the outside. Let's see if that seals better. I'm pretty sure the largest expense with this build will be fuel. I've lowered the KP factor in the PID control because you can see there's a lot of oscillations here. Let's see if that helps any. I'm trying to make the brake keep it at 10,000 RPM. engine is still bugging. It seems a little bit better. I've upped the ignition timing 5 more degrees to 25 degrees, and I've lowered some of the PID values. Let's see if that helps. Seems like it's starting to behave better now. I think we should look higher up in the rev range. Started at 12,000 RPM. Sweep rate is 0. It's meant to stay at 12,000. It is running better and there's progress on the dyno. We haven't gotten any good numbers yet. I think that's because the boost pressure is so low, and also there's probably too much fuel. I'm hesitant to lean it down though. I know what happens with a lean engine on nitro. To keep my somewhat good relationship with my neighbors, I think I'll call it quits for today. Go into the house, do some editing, give it some thought. Maybe I get some good ideas for tomorrow. Back from my visit to the past, now we're gonna do some of the stuff I talked about, and some more. Mounting the RPM sensor to the retarder itself. You can see I've already made a mount here. My original plan was to mount it here. I'm going to use this ignition mate unit to investigate if there's spark issues when it's bugging. There's some trouble with the power input jack here, so I'll have to investigate this unit before we can use it to investigate that unit. Nice old school through-hole stuff. I was going to check the load cell readings with this torque wrench, but I haven't got sockets large enough for this size. I need a bigger torque wrench anyway, so we'll get one. This is my last can of fuel. I've ordered more. I don't think I set focus. Oh well. Current batch of fuel has 15% oil content. And most of that just comes out of the exhaust unburnt. Creates a massive mess. I've ordered stuff with 10%. That's the lowest available in Norway. You're not allowed to sell methanol and nitromethane mixed without at least 10% oil mixed in. And not more than 30% nitromethane by weight. I found some adapters for the torque wrench and a socket that almost fits the nut. Little loose. It's set to 50 newtons. Let's see what the load cell reads. I've locked the crank with some rope in the spark plug hole. Here we go. Looks like it's reading a little bit low. Doesn't matter right now. I'm doing this check because the cradle's axis of rotation is different from the crank's axis of rotation. Remember I talked about that when I made those adapter plates to fit this engine. Anyways, we're reading low. doesn't matter right now. Okay, got the ignition mate hooked up, the sensor is moved to the retarder. Let's do a run and see what's going on with the spark and how the dyno performs with the sensor at the retarder. I'm curious to watch the footage. I don't think there's anything wrong with the spark though. It does look like it's running out of fuel. I think it's a combination of running too rich up until the point where we're running out of fuel. I'm running out of space on the memory card, so I'll have to go in and unload. I'm an idiot. I ran those testers without the power supply for the retarder hooked up. No power. No wonder I saw some weird 100% readings there. At least now we know that it's definitely not the brake bogging down the engine. It is the engine itself. And I think it's fuel. I think I've got a way to find out if it's fuel we're struggling with, once and for all. Per Henrik, Per Punk on Instagram, has kindly lent me this Speedway carb. He actually lent me another one a while back, but it's missing the slide. You might notice something different here. There's no float bowl. This is just a surge tank with an air fitting. Make sure there's a big volume of fuel available to the carb all the time. No bowl to run dry here. The tank is connected directly to the main and only jet. These are run on 500cc 100 horsepower methanol engines. Should be suitable. The main jet is located here and there's a valve to prevent leaking when it's not running. Inner workings of these carbs are different to your normal float carb. The fuel outlet sits here. There's an emulsion tube in here, which is fed air from here, fuel from here, through this needle valve, which is operated by this lever, which is operated by the slide. You can see the cutout in the slide here. You can adjust wide open throttle with the main jet here, and the rest of the range with the needle valve here through this hole. There's probably different slides with different cutouts for different engines. We'll have to whip up a quick adapter plate. As I turn on this valve, we should see fuel rising through this tube to the same level as in the tank. First tests with a new carb. I know what's going on. The problem is I have no control with the throttle wire because the slide is sticking. Maybe I should create a carb that combines this kind of fuel delivery system with a butterfly valve. First though, let's just use a piece of welding rod and see how hard that slide is to push in and out while it's running. I've put one of these screw-on wire and things on the end of the welding rod. Let's see how this works. This is my setup now. I push-pull wire here. Controlling this kind of slide carb in front of a blower with a rod versus the wire works great. And now the engine is not bugging from running out of fuel. Awesome. It's running really rich though, so now we can start playing with the jets and ignition timing and boost pressure. Awesome. See you next time.